Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Black Logic. Have a couple of stories for your news update. And then at the end of the broadcast, or near the end of the broadcast, I'm going to give a short story of beauty in the beast, not beauty and the beast, so to speak. So please stay tuned for that special segment of this particular broadcast. But I'm going to start you off with a major manhunt unfolding in Minnesota after former House Speaker Melissa Hortman and her husband were unfortunately fatally shot. Then Senator John Hoffman and his wife were wounded. The suspect, Vance Bolter, at the age of 57, had posed as a police officer targeting two separate Democratic lawmakers' homes in Chaplin and Brooklyn Park. He fled into the woods near his Sibley County home before surrendering Sunday morning in what law enforcement described as the largest manhunt in Minnesota history. Investigators found his possession a list of about 70 political figures and abortion rights advocates. Bolter faces multiple homicide and attempted murder charges. Federal involvement is also being examined. And I'm glad that this gentleman here, this alleged murderer, has been caught because it seemed as though he had nefarious plans of unaliving other people. So again, this is a good thing that Minnesota handled this very quickly. And if this is the man, I hope that he is prosecuted at the full extent of the law. Now, on June 16th, early this morning, during the fourth day of the escalating confrontation between Iran, launched a fresh wave of ballistic missiles at Israel, hitting Tel Aviv, Haifa, Petah Tikva, Benabach, Bat Yam, and these are some of the regions within Israel. That's why the names, I'm not pronouncing it as accurately as I would like to. But at least 8 civilians were killed and dozens wounded as reinforced by Italy. Israel Emergency Services and Reuters stated that damages included residential and educational sites, and missile debris reportedly struck near the U.S. Embassy in Tel Aviv. Israel responded with airstrikes on Iranian military and nuclear infrastructures. So again, the small skirmishes, the battles, looks as though it's going to be full-fledged war between Iran and Israel. And unfortunately, America's caught in the middle because former President Donald Trump, he stated, and I don't mean by former president, my apologies, but President Donald Trump, while the U.S. is not currently engaged, he stated that we could get involved if Iran attacks American forces or interests. As I stated before, the missile attacks by the Iranian forces came close to the embassy that America has in Israel. Now, speaking in on an on-camera at ABC interview, he emphasized the possibility of U.S. military involvement and urged Iran and Israel to make a deal. Trump even floated Russian mediation, referencing President Putin. He also noted his administration vetoed an Israeli plan to kill Iran's supreme leader. So I made some comments a couple of weeks ago about President Trump probably being one of the top candidates for the Nobel Peace Prize. Well, I can tell you, if we get involved in this war where we have military troops on the ground, or we give a mass amount of military equipment for Israel to take out Iran in some form or fashion, then I don't think he will no longer be up for the Nobel Peace Prize. And there's something else to note here as well. Israel is only 9.2 million people when it comes to their population. They hold a very small landmass in the Middle East. Now, compared to Iran, we're talking 92 million people, and Iran is a very large and vast country in the Middle East, comparable to Saudi Arabia in some regard. So again, if America gets in this war, this is not going to be short term. This is going to be a long war that America is going to be either backing or supporting with military troops on the ground, military equipment, strategy, but most importantly, the taxpayer dollars, and then again, being in a war that America should never be in the first place. So again, we have to keep those things very true to heart of some of the actions that our president and the Trump administration may take. Because again, we don't want to be in any wars where our military personnel, our friends, our loved ones, our family members are going to be in a war that we really don't have anything to do with, except to stop Iran from producing nuclear warheads because of their mass amount of enriched uranium. I digress. Now, I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but one of the No King rallies for the protests of illegal immigrants to stay inside of our country, they were stating that there's no credible source yet found that there was a shooting at one of these gatherings here that you see. So again, I'm gonna keep you guys updated on that as well as I get more information. Also, after early reprieve from immigration enforcement, farming industry reckons with raids. They're stating that we're still suffering for some of the raids, but we're figuring that this is the new future of America, where we might have to pay Americans to now come to the farming industry and pay them a fair wage, which may reduce a lot of the profits, which then in turn will increase produce. It will increase produce, fruits, vegetables. But again, is this what America wants? Do we want people who are illegally in our country to be deported? Then do Americans want to go into the fields and farm and pick fruit and plant vegetables, but get paid a fair wage? Please leave that in the comment section or in the chat. But thank you guys for joining me here this morning. If you're new to Black Logic, please hit the subscribe button, as we're going to break down some of the top stories this morning. But at the end, as I told you, I have a segment I'm calling Beauty in the Beast. I tend not to give segments, I just go right into the information, but there are some things that I do want to bring to you guys' attention that I really do think it's very, very imperative that you guys listen and not take the emotional stance I think most people would take to this, because it's not targeted at one community or another, but there is some things that I really, really want to talk about here, okay? So again, Trump orders increase in migrant deportation. He is now expanding this to New York City, Chicago, and other major cities. So again, the ICE raids have not ramped down, they have increased. So again, I'll keep you guys updated with that as well. So with this next one here, I want to show you guys this video clip, if you don't mind, so I can bring you guys into this next segment, okay? And I got some, give me 1 second here. I got some music playing in the background that I do not want to play, okay? Give me 1 second here.
Ourselves to feel safer in a system that was never built for us. What if the idea of black and brown unity is just another lie we tell ourselves to feel safer in a system that was never built for us? Survival ain't the reason they don't side with us. It's preference. Think about it. In prisons, they don't roll with us. On the job sites, they don't hire us. In their homes, they don't want us dating their daughters. And in the courtroom, they often vote for policies against us. For my people want to cling to the few who march, like it erases the ones who mock. And before you say that's not all of them, ask one of your Mexican partners what mejora la raza means. It means to improve the race. But improve it how? By whitening it. By erasing blackness. Go on and sit with that for a minute. They dance to our music, they talk like us, they move into our neighborhoods, and we let them. Then they gatekeep jobs, culture, and even respect, and we let them. This ain't about racism, man. It's about rivalry, because nobody imitates what they pity. They imitate what they envy, and deep down they know what we got can't be copied. So maybe it ain't hate. Maybe it's hidden competition. Maybe it ain't ignorance. Maybe it's inherited bias. Or maybe blacks was never meant to look for allies. Just remember who we are. I love my people. I hope y'all safe out there, and I hope you get home safe. Man, y'all.
All right, I wanted to set the tone there for you guys. I really wanted to set the precipice and the premise for this next segment because I don't want to offend anyone. That's your trigger warning. There's going to be some language that you may not agree with, but I think it's imperative that I set the tone. This is what the world sees. They call us beast. They paint us as threats, degenerates, criminals, dumb, loud, lazy. The world looks at Black Americans and see a shadow of humanity, not a real person. a fifth of a human. But not the soul that shaped the world. They don't see us as a problem, never the solution. They see us as the problem and never the solution, as victims, never as visionaries, as predators, but never as protectors. Yet we, the so-called beasts, built the bones of this empire. Tell me, what group of people was enslaved for over 300 years in a government-sanctioned horror show and then told to forget? When have they ever did that? Whenever they ever did that? Because I keep hearing that all these other groups of people have been enslaved, and look at them now. Who built the wealth of the most powerful nation on earth with bloody hands and broken backs just to be denied a seat at the table? Foundational Black Americans. We did. And when they opened the gates to immigrants, many fleeing hardship, and again, this is not targeted at one group of people. This is targeted at every group of people who are immigrants to this country who turn up their nose at Black Americans. They open up the gates to immigrants, illegal and legal, many fleeing hardship, war, and famine, and most have come to this country for economic opportunity, economic asylum, economic refugees. Those immigrants were granted access to the very same privileges our struggle made possible. Who am I referring to? Foundational Black Americans. When it comes to affirmative actions, that was built on our pain, even though we didn't benefit from affirmative action. When you're talking about DEI and those DEI initiatives, yeah, it may started off as a movement that Black people was inherently fighting for, but we didn't benefit from it. But yet, immigrants have benefited from the same policies that was meant for us. Then they have the audacity to shame our name and say we didn't work hard enough. They blend in, they mimic whiteness, and they mark our scars, telling us slavery was such a long time ago. But see, when a woman is the R word, when a woman is R word, no one tells her to get over it. No one questions how long her pain should linger, how many generations her trauma may poison, putting that trauma and not inflict pain on her children or her future partner. Who has done that? The pain must have an expiration date, but the beast must be silent. They tell us that Jim Crow was a long time ago. Mass incarceration, yeah, that's old news. Redlining, that's still old. Stolen land, that's still old. Homestead Act, that's still old. Murdering our leaders, oh, that was in the 60s. That's all ancient history. But generational trauma doesn't fade with the flipping of a calendar. It haunts our DNA. You say we are beasts. But beasts don't survive slavery. Beasts don't create jazz, hip hop, rock and roll, soul, funk, gospel, blues, and country. Beasts don't invent the home security system like Marion Van Britton Brown, the super soaker like the NASA engineer Lonnie Johnson, or the 3-light traffic signal like Gerd Morgan, or the 3 hidden figures coming up with a complicated algorithm to send our astronauts into space. Beasts don't perform the first open heart surgery like a Dr. Daniel Hill Williams, or revolutionize blood transfusion like a Dr. Charles Drew. Beasts don't launch NASA missions with math like I stated, those 3 hidden figures like Katherine Johnson's. Beasts don't move mountains. Foundational Black Americans do. And let's not forget the legislation. Civil rights, voting rights, Fair Housing Act. That is all because we were denied opportunities and access in a country that we fought, bled, and built. All because we marched, bled, sat in, and stood up. The world's most powerful country was forced to hear us. They could have easily genocide each and every one of us. But yeah, there's good white people. There's good Hispanic people. There's good Asian people. There's good all people. So that didn't occur. But don't act as if a large majority of all these different groups don't speak down to us as we are the scum of the earth. The world's most powerful country, they were forced to hear us. So the beast became the voice. Yet, while the Japanese received reparations for internment, while Native Americans received land, casinos, and recognitions, and government subsidies and government assistance till this day, we are told you wasn't enslaved. Your father wasn't enslaved, so you should get over it, as if trauma isn't inherited. So I guess certain terms are only good when certain people state it. But when people say hurt people, how do you think we have generational trauma? Why do you think the world sees our family as degenerate? Why do you see the black family disassembled? Like mass incarceration had nothing to do with it. That hurt people don't hurt people, as if trauma can't be transcended to a new generation. As if generational wealth wasn't stolen. We talk about all these black wealth in the different cities that we have around America before 1920, before the Red Summer of 1919. If you guys are not familiar with the Red Summer of 1919, just look it up. Just type in Red Summer 1919. And then you will understand that at every given wake, beyond slavery, before Jim Crow, we built massive amount of black Wall Streets. Not one in Tulsa, Oklahoma, but we had more than 15 black Wall Streets where black people were thriving in America. Where's the laziness at now? But at every given turn, we were sabotaged. We were tricked. We were manipulated in a government that wanted to see us dead. They wanted to see us gone. They said, go back to your country, N-word. This is the only country that we know. We've had people here on record since 1526. Look up, before 1619, there was 1526. And then in doing your little research, you will find out there were black people already here prior to 1526. Some of the most indigenous people of this land. But they act as if generational wealth wasn't stolen. Burned in Tulsa, drowned in Rosewood, robbed by redlining and lynching and outright theft. As if your father worked and saved and had life insurance and bought a home and then transcended and transferred that wealth down to you. That was stolen from us. But yet they say, get a job in a country where our names alone disqualify us, where zip codes determine opportunity, where we must be twice as good to get half as much, where racism is a scaffolding that held this country together, and it still does. Yes, stop letting either side lie to the American people. Racism still exists, whether you speak it or whether you think it, whether it's implied or subconscious bias. But foundational Black Americans are still here. There's a great many of us, unfortunately, that are still suffering from so many traumas. I think there's countless to name. And I know there are some people out there, stop being a victim. And they look like you and I. They have the same lineage as you and I. Stop being a victim. Then you also have those who are sellouts. The things they speak that are anti-Black, those things that they speak that are anti-Black community, we have to understand that they are inspired and motivated by money. That's why they're sellouts. And those people who say they no longer want to be a victim because they want to feel empowered. They want to feel as they did everything on their own. It doesn't matter if you feel like a victim or not. Your whole lineage tells you who and what you are. We are some of the greatest people on earth, as if other people as well. But there's something we've been through that is not so distant past. That even though in times past and historical references, people can say all these different people have been enslaved. But look at them now. Where are they? Where are the Slavic people? The Slavic people no longer exist. They're different types of people. They live in Ukraine. They live in Russia. They live in Poland. There are different. The Slavic people have now turned into 4 or 5 countries. They no longer exist. We rise with rhythm, with genius, with flavor, with soul. We rise in every field, science, law, not just sports, art, tech, and education. We rose in Selma. We rose in Ferguson. We rise in every courtroom and every classroom around this country. We are the beauty in the beast that you see, because that is what you say we are. Because we carry grace under pressure. We carry brilliance under burden. We carry pride without permission. We are not the beast. We are the miracles in motion. So keep underestimating us. Keep painting us in the shadows. We are the beauty that built this nation. And we're the storm that's reshaping it. So when people look at Black Americans, is this what you see? Or do you see this? See, nobody wants to talk about the past as if that generational trauma can't be passed down by mother and father to their child. Nobody wants to go back and say, well, these people have been enslaved and look at them now. These people have been enslaved and look at them now. No one does that, do they not? We will have people that look like us, that come from the Caribbean, that come from the continent of Africa, that comes from other parts of Europe, that look like us and come to America and turn their nose up at us and look down at us if we're the scum of the earth. And then I look at their countries and I look at where they come from. You have an entire country of Black people that have been colonized and then set free. Most of the African countries that were colonized, they just gained independence in the 60s. So how long is going to take other Black countries to decolonize their mind and separate themselves from way of thinking of the white supremacists who gave them their ideology? When is that going to occur in Asia? Where people think because they're lighter, colorism, where people think they're lighter, that they're smarter, that they're hardworking. They're literally repeating the same colonial white supremacist ideology towards Black Americans when they come. Because you don't hear this, oh, they're so hardworking. You hear that with Hispanics. You hear that with Black immigrants. But no one is taking into account the things that have occurred and the things that are still occurring today to Black Americans. I'm not saying feel pity for us. I'm not saying we're making excuses for our condition. But no one is really doing the research of, wait a minute, they started here, they went here, and look at them today. Would you say we're better or worse than we was in the 60s? Unfortunately, I would say that we're just a little bit better. But our wealth is still the same. And the difference between that family is that those other groups that I named, they have received reparations. And when people stated about the Native Americans and the comparison that I make, Native Americans are still receiving reparations till this day. And those people wasn't genocide. Those people who still exist today, their ancestors was. So what's the big difference? There is none.